Holy crap, guys, breaking news. The Hollywood Reporter is, well, reporting that Kathleen Kennedy, president of Lucasfilm, is actually getting a contract extension. That's right, she's not fired, she's not stepping down, she is actually extending her contract. Woo! The internet is going to have a field day with this. We're going to break it all down right here, right now. What's up, everybody? My name is, of course, Josh. This is the Den of Nerds. If you love Star Wars, subscribe to this channel. And I would urge you, even if you don't love Disney Star Wars, subscribe to this channel anyways. And while I'm on that note, I should just come right out the gate and say this. Guys, this is not a video where I'm going to talk crap on a bunch of people that thought Kathleen Kennedy was going to get fired. I'm not going to like, rub it in like, oh, haters, you were so wrong. That's not what this video is going to be. However, I am going to try to say to people out there that are upset about this decision, you know, hang on to the end of the video. I want to explain why I actually think this is going to be okay, and that everything is going to be fine, and that you should not panic over this, even if you are a part of the fandom menace. So what exactly is happening? Let's talk about this. Well, the Hollywood Reporter just came out talking about how Kathleen Kennedy is getting a contract extension as the president and CEO of Lucasfilm, okay? So now she will be acting president of Lucasfilm until 2021. This will mean that Episode 9 will happen completely under her tutelage. She will see in the first couple seasons of Jon Favreau's live-action television show, and quite possibly begin the Dan and Dave series of films before 2021. Oh, and she's also actively developing Indiana Jones #5 with Harrison Ford and Steven Spielberg. I'm actually pretty pumped about it. I think it's gonna be dope. Now, as soon as this news broke online, there were just a myriad of different reactions. There were people that, you know, are really liking what Lucasfilm is doing currently, and they were all saying, oh, damn, haters are all wrong, you guys, fake news, holy crap, Mike Zero and Grace Randolph and all that. Then there were the people on the side of the fandom menace, you know, obviously very upset about this. Grace Randolph, who famously ran an exclusive talking about how Kathleen Kennedy was really being told that she should step down, but that there was nobody to take the job. She's doubling down on that, talking about how that's the case. Nobody wants that job. Contract extended to 2021, and I believe that the idea that Grace is trying to put forward is that Kathleen Kennedy has to sort of clean up the mess before someone will take over for her. Now, I'm not going to necessarily speculate on any of that. I mean, at this point, with the contract extension happening, it's really hard for me to take a lot of these other people seriously that were saying all of these things. But, you know, there was an overwhelming amount of reports about Kathleen Kennedy, you know, needing to step down, possibly people at Disney wanting her to step down, you know, the fans obviously wanting her to step down. And I think that when you really like think back to it, a lot of this happened after The Last Jedi. So there were groups of fans that were upset with Disney Star Wars for whatever reason, but really The Last Jedi was so divisive, and you know, that's just facts, guys. It was really divisive. About half of the fan base really liked it, about half of the fan base absolutely hated it. And so after that divide, I think a lot of people sort of joined with other people that were having problems with Disney Star Wars, and they basically just pointed at the leader and basically said it's her fault. Now, were there some people in the fandom pointing the finger at Kathy just because she's a woman, and there was this progressive ideology kind of being pushed forward? We had our first female protagonist in a Star Wars movie. Sure, there was some of that, but by and large, the majority of people wanted Kathy to step down simply because they weren't happy with what was happening with Star Wars. I mean, you even had people like John Campea and Jeremy Johns both explain their side of the story, what's happening with Star Wars, and why they think Kathleen Kennedy should step down. Like, literally, both Johns are like some of the most level-headed, reasonable people that you'll ever meet, and they both were on the side of Kathy stepping down. However, I do believe that a lot of these rumors all started with this idea of boycotting Star Wars until Kathleen Kennedy was removed, because that was a real thing. Like when the Solo boycotters and Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers and all those guys were, you know, saying like, hey, let's boycott the Solo movie until we get what we want, the fandom menace, you know, that whole group. I believe that because one of their demands, or one of the things they universally wanted, was Kathy to step down, that is where a lot of this, whether you want to call it fake news or clickbaity stuff, came from. Now, I should mention it is technically possible that these talks did happen, that Grace is being accurate, and that they do want Kathy to step down, but there's nobody to do the job right now. And at the end of the day, even if that's not true, I believe that there's probably no one there that can do a better job than her currently. Being a president of the company is way more than being a producer. There's so many ins and outs of that job, and this is something that I've said continuously in my coverage. Although I have personally been a fan of the idea of her stepping down, I have constantly said I just don't think Dave Filoni, who a lot of fans believe should take the job, I don't believe that he has the experience to actually do that job as president. In fact, I don't think there's anybody that's really qualified out there within Star Wars, at least currently, to do that job. Now, in these next 3 years, I think we're gonna get Star Wars Episode 9, which I believe will appease a lot more fans than The Last Jedi. I think it'll sort of play back to the normal Star Wars tone that we're all used to. Not to say that they're going to retcon things or purposely do things to sort of make up for the mistakes of The Last Jedi, but I do think that everybody at Lucasfilm is aware that they need to make a more fan-favorited type of movie for Episode 9. So I think that will happen. I think this Jon Favreau show is going to be excellent. I expect Indiana Jones 5 to be really good, as long as they don't pull a Crystal Skull on us. God damn, that movie was terrible. And so overall, when you look at those projects, and maybe even if we get the beginning of the Dan and Dave series of films, I think these are all things that the fan base will respond very positively to. And as Kathy does move to make her transition, which I do think will happen in 2021. I believe she'll be 67, 68 at that time, so it's probably natural that she would retire. But I think that the real legacy of Kennedy, and perhaps even the reason that this move is made, is to help Star Wars transition into the future, so that whoever takes up that position next will have a nice fan base, a little bit more together. We'll have a good, interesting place for stories to go, and the brand will be in a better spot. And I also think that it will help Kathy to solidify her legacy. I mean, Kathleen Kennedy is a brilliant producer. She's worked on so many movies. She has a great, illustrious career. However, there have been a lot of bumps in the road with her as president of Lucasfilm. There were even bumps in the road with The Force Awakens. Her and JJ butted heads a lot. They lost a writer early. There was a lot of stuff that happened in The Force Awakens. We just don't talk about it because that movie was pretty well received and made oodles of money. Same thing with Rogue One when you look at what happened with Gareth Edwards. You know, you have The Last Jedi, which of course is incredibly divisive, and then Solo, which actually lost money, which is not a good thing. So her start to this Star Wars thing has been a little shaky, although I think there's a lot of stuff that she's doing very well and probably doesn't get enough credit for it. And so overall, guys, that's the news. I don't think anybody should be freaking out about this, and I don't think this needs to be one of those things that's held up by one side of the fan base and sort of shoved in the face of the other side of the fan base. I mean, if anything, like the Bob Iger thing with the Star Wars slowdown, you know, that could be looked at as sort of, you know, redirecting course. And I think Kathy's still the best person to be at the helm while they sort of course correct, because I still think they need to course correct. But either way, that's what's going on out there. Just some of my thoughts about it. I wasn't even planning on doing a second video today, but when I heard about this, I was like, oh, we gotta talk about this situation. So I know it's gonna be crazy, but please, try to be nice to each other in the comment section. It would be cool if we had like some legitimate dialogue where we brought up different points and sort of heard each other out. And I know that's not going to happen, but man, it would be pretty cool if it did. Having said that, I do want to know what you're thinking. Let me know what your thoughts are regarding Kathleen Kennedy, Lucasfilm, Star Wars, everything to do with this story. Let us know in the comments section below. Oh, and let's do a little nerd card question, bringing these things back. So I want to know, guys, what is the very first movie that Kathleen Kennedy was credited as a producer for in her filmography? What was she first credited for as a producer? Answer that question in the comments section below.